What's up, everybody? A Spare with a Gun here from Sleepless Night Studios with a brand new episode on a new series, or potential new series, on PC Building Simulator. For those of you that don't know, as the name so spoilerly, that's what I'm going to go with as a made-up word, implies, the game is about building PCs. Sort of. There is a free build mode where you can build whatever PCs you want. There's also the main game, which is what we're doing here, which is where you kind of have to take over a business and get new people and all this kind of stuff. So, as you can see, we're at the little welcome screen here. So to begin, go to your PC by the doorway and open the email program on the desktop. You've got mail. Yay. Alright, so this is our work area. As you can see, we have a couple of spots here. You have to be level 3 to build a second workbench, level 8 to build a third, and level 6 to build a storage cupboard. Now, quite frankly, I don't really see the point in this yet. I've been playing this off and on. I got up to, I believe, a level 5, I think, just from fiddle-farting around with it, and it's surprisingly addictive. Now, I don't know how it'll be from a viewing standpoint, but actually playing the game, you're like, nah, it's just building PCs, what's the big deal? But it actually sucked me in really, really quickly to where I was like, I just gotta build one more. I just gotta do one more client thing. I just gotta, to where I was like, you pull your head away from the screen and you're like, 2 hours? How did that go by? What am I doing? So, I'm hoping everybody enjoys watching it as much as I have playing it. And it could be partially because I'm just coming off of a fresh, brand new, first time build my own PC, so it's still very a big thing to me. But anyways, so this is our main computer. We have light switches for our office. We have a computer here, and we have the ability to leave the workshop. Here, you end your day in advance to tomorrow, but make sure you've accepted your jobs and ordered components you need before leaving or going home for the evening. This is where you've got your calendar, so you can check. Obviously, here we have pay utility bill on the 10th, pay rent on the 25th, so we have to make sure that we get our bank account above our negative $15. And we can go back to the office. Now, this is, I think that's going to be a system for a job that's kind of like auto-accepted. So anyways, controls are fairly simple. It's a WASD controls for that. Most of the other controls are tool-tipped on the bottom of the screen for how to pick up stuff, turn things on, interact with stuff, etc. and so on, as you can see there. So, this is our main, like, office computer kind of thing, so it's just up and running. In case you guys do anything with the free build and it gets confusing, if you put them on any other workstation, you have to plug in the mouse, keyboard, HDMI, and power cable in order to boot to the screen. If, however, you put it down in this slot, it's considered, like, the main office computer, and so it works. So, we have our add and remove programs. Now, in the free build mode, you'll have access to pretty much all of them. In this version, in the story, campaign, career mode, whatever you want to call it, you have these 3 that are not installed. You start with these 3 installed. When you go into your shop, this is where you get all your parts from, your graphics cards, processors, so on and so forth. Kind of think like, basically generic in-game non-licensed version of like Amazon or something, wherever you would order parts from. It's just, you pick the price and you order it. When you go to tools, however, this is where things get a little more interesting. So at level 2, you unlock auto connect tools, which the desk cables connect themselves automatically when you power on the PC. It costs $1,000, which is a pretty hefty thing, but there's all these little like quick things, quick screw, quick cable, auto standoff, faster installation upgrade, auto screw, quick screw. So tap a screw for it to unscrew quickly. You don't have to press and hold it. This one is you just click on things and screws undo themselves or screw themselves in. Auto cable, etc. and so on. Then you get into programs. So here you can purchase the system diagnostic, will it run it, part ranking, and a place to get used parts at a reduced price, PC Bay. So that's how the software and tool parts work. It took me a while to figure that out. So here's our email. So this is from Timbo2000 at Supermail, aka, I believe, the uncle? Yeah. So, hey, thanks for taking over the PC shop for me. Sorry it's not in a better state. A few things. The company isn't doing very well. No kidding. And there is no money in the bank account. The rent and energy bill comes out monthly, so make sure you have enough money for them. I had a job on the go, which should help with the rent. See the email below. Yeah, so they start you with one. Remember to use thermal paste when putting in a CPU. I almost always forget, and the PCs overheat. Bad idea. So I think you're all set up. It's your company now, so run it how you see fit. I hope you do better than I did. Lots of love, Uncle Tim. P.S. I had to borrow $15 for fuel. You know how it is. Hence the negative 15 instead of 0. Thanks, Uncle Tim. Alright, so hi Tim. He did not get the memo, apparently. Gary did not get the memo. I hope you can help me. My computer has been running slower than usual, and I think I might have clicked on something I shouldn't have. Do I have a virus? So, you can see the payment here, you can see the objectives here. Normally you would have an accept or reject button. This is an auto one, so we can just hit go to PC and it takes you out here, or you can just exit out of here and go over and pick it up. So we'll pick this up. We'll bring it over here, plop it down there. And you can see what you're supposed to do and who it's from. So this is a scan. When you hover over it, it'll say PC can boot to OS, remove viruses not plugged in, etc. and so on. So, in order to do this is the first thing. For this job, you'll need to run a virus scan. Now, I'm going to skip this. You can read it if you want. But basically, you have install parts with the 1 key, and then you can pick from your parts. You can search, you can narrow it to fit to this PC, so on and so forth. 2 is your default remove, and then when you click on anything in green, it's to remove it. When you highlight anything that has an orange, I think, or red? I think it's red, and then anyways, you'll see it at some point, and it'll basically say that it has a dependency. You can't remove that part until you remove something else. 3 is where you switch over to cabling. Anything with these orange highlights means it can be plugged in. When you click and hold on it, then it shows you what slots are available for it to be plugged in. So we'll put this there. And if you saw my first preview episode, then you'll know all this. I'm just throwing this out there for anybody that might have just run across this. So we'll plug in those 3, get it powered up. Now it gives this thing. So to do virus scans, install programs, run an operating system, etc., you grab the USB. So you hit 1, go over to your USB, gives you a slot, put that in there. And now you can just hit P to power it on. I believe you actually can highlight the button and click the button, but it's way faster just to click the P key. So yeah, so now this booted up. Now we've got the Omega OS installed. So now we're going to install the virus scanner, and it'll ask you if you want to reboot. If you're installing multiple programs, just tell it to do it later and then just install it multiple. If you're just doing one, just hit yes and it'll reboot. And trust me when I tell you that startup does get annoying after a while. So this is the fastest scanner ever of all time. It found it, it cleans it, we're done. That's all there is to a virus scan job. Those are very nice to have because they're easy money. You removed all the viruses, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Now I hit the E key to back out. I don't know what the actual... You can come up here and hit exit. You can hit escape, but I usually just hit E and it works. Now, there's a couple of things here as kind of the game doesn't really tell you this, but it's just something I've picked up on. First of all, in career mode, you only have 1 thumb drive. So if you had 2 workstations and this one needed a program or an OS and this one needed one, you do one, and then you have to go in and remove the thumb drive and then go put it in another one. However, if you're done like this, you don't have to unplug everything, you don't have to pull the drive out, you don't have to unplug the cable, power it off, anything. Just pick it up. And it's actually kind of cool that you'll see the fans still spin a little bit. Place it down somewhere, anywhere, it doesn't matter. I usually try and put it further back here and leave my to-dos up front, but that's just personal organization preference. And then this will say it's done, collect, and you're good. Clear that email, and usually wait, because there's usually either a response or another job like that. Almost like clockwork. Like that, too. So I just wanted to say, stop it a minute, I'm reading. Thank you for fixing my PC. It's booting faster than it has in years. I didn't realize your uncle had gone away. Looks like the business is in good hands. Thank you, Gary. And after a while, you start kind of just... I've played this enough that you kind of just start like, okay, remove viruses. That's a virus job. Got it. Some of these are actually comical, though, to read through them. They have some fun with the characters, and they also do a little bit of where sometimes you'll have recurring customers and stuff, so it's kind of fun when you read into everything. Could you have a look at my PC, please? It's running as well. It isn't running as well as it did when I first bought it, and I've probably not been taking the best care of it. It looks a bit dirty. Could you give it a once-over, please? If you can, I'll bring it around tonight, ready for you in the morning. Wait, if you can, I'll bring it around tonight, ready for you in the morning. That's a weird sentence, but let's move on. So this is important. It says customers' PCs will take a day to arrive, so end the current day before you can get those done. This also applies to when you order things, keeping track of what all you have to order and stuff like that. So for this, I need some more space to back up my files. Could you install a 500 gig hard drive? Most of them will not be this specific. They're doing this so that you get kind of an idea of how to buy parts and things like that, alongside my existing drives. I'll bring it around first. So accept that. It'll tell you go to the shop and buy the stuff. I'm going to check this one real quick. My graphics card has fried itself. That's never good. And I need it to be replaced with with the same one, please. An NVIDIA GTX 970. Maybe one of those Xi'an ones. Xi'an and Mortoni, from what I can gather, are kind of like the generic in-game brand for non-licensed products that they don't have like NVIDIA's permission for or something like that. So they do an equivalent or something, but it's not necessarily the same thing. Now, they will normally be cheaper. So if they don't specify, you can sometimes save yourself a little bit of money for the business by doing an off-brand or something like that. However, it's hilarious. I'm going to accept this, by the way. So these all say in transit. I will get into that, however, in a moment. So we need a 970 Xi'an and a Mortoni 500 gig. So we'll open up the shop. Go to, let's do the storage first. And you can search by text. You can filter by different things depending on what you're looking for. There's speeds, sizes, types, etc. Relevance, prices. You can kind of do it all however you want. Alright, so Mortoni 500, so that's 50 bucks. And if you go to your cart, use the delivery options to choose best. Often it's better to pay for faster delivery than wait days to receive the things. I'm actually going to hold off on buying the graphics card. The reason being, I don't have to. You can go into negative up to... I didn't know this when I first started playing it. It was on a Steam guide. I think it was negative 1,000, I think you can get away with before they'll stop letting you buy things. I just don't think it's very good business practice at all. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to wait. So this is an example of how to micromanage. It's like you could just buy all this stuff, do all the things, or you could wait, you could play around with the days, you can organize. These don't have deadlines on them. So I'm going to go ahead and do the hard drive, pick next day. Make sure to do this. I've had a couple of things where it like I accidentally clicked here. Mostly this is what happens. Let me see if I can pull it off. So you have it set for next day. You get out of here, you go check something. When you come back, if you point your crosshair right there, and I'm doing it on purpose, normally I do it on accident, and I click in, unless they fixed it. They might have fixed it. Looks like they fixed it. So when I first started playing the game, you could click in and it would basically click on this and it would accidentally set it to 3 to 5 days. That's not fun. So we'll buy that. Now, I know it's actually probably cheaper to do it all as one shipment. I really just have a pet peeve of going into negative numbers. So we're not going to do that. We're going to do the virus one, and we're going to do the hard drive one first. And then when we get paid for those, we'll order this guy's graphics card. Right? Girl. Queen Brittany. Wow, I could not have done that worse. The one person out of these... P. Sherman, that could be anybody. Gemma... Well, that's... Okay, so they're... Two of these are probably... Okay, there's no dudes. Apparently. Or at least not... At least 2 of them. I don't know. Anyways. So that's the basic premise of how you do stuff. This whiteboard is used for actual builds, which is really fun. We'll get into that later. I think that's around level 5. And I apologize if I sound really raspy. I've been recording all day and my throat's kind of dry. Okay, so as you can see here, we have... I wish you could click on this and you could see it without going to the next day. Oh, I didn't realize you could actually scroll that. Whatever. So the yellow is when the actual system is arriving. The green is parts arriving. So we end the day. The customer's PC is here. Pick it up, blah, 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 blah. We already covered that. This shows you what's on the agenda. And go to work. Your parts have arrived. So parts are over here. When we click here, it'll give you a list. You can just exit out. You don't have to do anything. It just goes into your inventory. And then you have your 3 systems. So let's go ahead and grab this one. I should also mention, if you're being really penny pinching, I read a guide online that says turning off your lights before you end the day saves on your overall electric bill when you go to pay your electric bill. So that's a fun little note. All right, so cleaning. Press the install button, get the compressed air from the tools, and then you can clean out the dust. This is a little finicky, and there's some things like this dust, remove the dust cover. You don't actually have to spray that. When you remove the dust cover, it just removes the dust from it when you put it back. So we'll get our compressed air can, and you can press and hold, left click and hold, and spray this stuff down. I think if you take this stuff apart, like if you grab this cover and just remove it, I think when you put it back it's clean, but sometimes it's easier just to spray it. It's really just kind of a preference thing. We'll spray the graphics card down, spray the motherboard down, and honestly there's no real clear visual indicator of when you're done and when you've gotten everything, except for when this happens and it just says clean the dust. So then, now this is another important part. When you remove parts from the PC, when you go to install, they won't be in here. These are purchased, or like this is purchased, or something like that. PC parts is where you'll find the tower parts. Hard drive bays, filters, covers, tempered glass panes, all that stuff goes into PC parts. So we'll put that together. Switch back over to our cables, and it doesn't matter which cables you plug it into and blah blah blah. There's really only 2, and they usually have like 4 slots. So, and we're gonna need our virus scan, so let's throw in our thumb drive, boot you up, we'll go to virus scan. So as you can see, it's fairly straightforward, but the complexity of computer hardware is where the game starts really actually getting more advanced, as far as like the further your level goes, the higher paying the jobs are and the more complicated they are. And eventually you get to, hey, can you build me a PC kind of thing. That's the most complicated I've seen thus far. So yeah, this should be done. Yep, leave by door. So we're just going to grab it. And we're going to plop it over there. Now, fix, that's that one. Upgrade. So we need this guy. Throw you down. Now, this is our first nitty-gritty one. This one where we actually have to take the cover plate off. So, if any of you have ever played World of Guns, the disassembly is very, very similar, where you highlight parts and when you click on it, then it shows you dependencies and stuff you need to remove, or like this, it's like you have to unscrew it first. Like so. And much like I said, and then, oh, here's a dependency one. So the board lights up yellow, everything red is what you would have to unplug or detach in order to remove the yellow part. So, so that's how that works. I think I have to take the back plate off of this one. And as you play and stuff, I've gotten to where you kind of learn where things are and what bays are what and blah, 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 blah. It's just kind of a part of the game. So we'll install that, throw you in there. And I apologize if I'm going a little fast for new players that aren't aware of how this works and stuff. I have actually been playing this a little bit, so I'm very comfortable with it. So if I'm moving a little quick for an opening episode, then that's, you know, that's my bad. So there's the... Is that the... Okay, this one they actually did right. There is a glitch in one of the towers where the bottom bay has these plugs inverted. And when you click on the SATA plug, it wants to go into the power and vice versa. These bay ones seem to be doing okay. Alright, so there's the... yeah. So we installed the hard drive like we were supposed to. Let's go ahead and throw the thumb drive in there, and we'll go ahead and cable this up. And this is just a preference thing. I like to get everything set up when I have a case to put together, because then when I tell it to boot, I can go in and do this stuff while it's doing that. It just saves a little bit of time, especially if you're the big time sink. Like, what takes the most time is when people start wanting things benchmarked. If I go here to remove programs, this 3D Mark Advanced Edition, this is used to benchmark the systems, and so there's a lot of people that will want that. And when that happens, the program has to run until it's done, basically. And when that happens, it's like, well, you know, it just takes however long it takes. So in this case, what I'm going to do, let's go to my emails. We're going to collect this one, discard it, and we usually get another one. There it is. And we'll collect this one and discard that. And there we go. Okay. I'm not very good with computers, but mine isn't working properly. It's been getting very hot lately and running slower and slower. I don't think I can hear the fan anymore. It lives on the floor of my dusty office. I hope it's not all clogged up. If you do have to replace the fan, then please pick the cheapest one. I can't afford anything fancy. Replace air cooler, clean out dust. Done. Now this is an interesting one. It's a replace. It does not say it doesn't say what part it is. You're just supposed to replace it. The interesting part there is you'll run into stuff where, I don't know if they would do it this early on or if they would just let you literally buy the cheapest one and you're fine. But one of the situations you can run into is where they have a very specific motherboard. And so the cooler will only work on that kind of socket type. And so you have to be careful buying things ahead of time when they say replace before you've had time to actually look at the system. So that's just something to keep in mind, but it's really only relevant later. I'm giving my daughter my PC and she needs a lot of RAM apparently. She says she needs 16 and I've currently got 2 and a 4 on my motherboard. Upgrade to 16. So if you have, let me see, 2 4 should be 6. That's not going to work. You're going to need 4 4s at least to make 16. So we got to take that 2 out. That's not going to do anything. Unless I did an 8. I could do an 8 and a 2? That's weird. That's a weird RAM configuration, though. I might do it just to see if it works. But, because if I'm doing my math right, if you threw another 2 in there, that would be 4 and 4, so that's 8, and then another 8 would be 16. Yeah, that would work. So if we did an 8 and a 2, we wouldn't have to replace those. Okay. Now, in this case, we know the number of RAM that we need, and they don't specify what kind. So you're safe to get the cheap ones. So when you go to memory, you have these Shein Titan 2 gigs and all this kind of stuff, or you can get the Mortonis, and Mortonis are normally the cheapest. So we're going to add a 2, and let's see who has an 8. We might have to go with this guy. That's the only 8 that I think is available. Now, the other thing is you'll notice we have a level. Level is not only upgrading this stuff. Level is also the parts available to us. There are a lot more parts to this in the game. There's still a lot of parts missing from the game, but it is an early access. So I'm sure they'll be adding more parts and stuff as the development goes on. Oh, that's a DDR4. Oh, all these are DDR4. We're in the new age, people. All right. Now, graphics card. Let's see. We need, what was it, a Shein 970? 265. What is the NVIDIA? NVIDIA. I don't have NVIDIA. So I have MSI. 960. Alright. Well, I don't actually have the ability to buy an NVIDIA. So there. That's a 750. So we need this one, I think, is the cheaper. So once again, next day delivery. We have our memory for the one person. We have our graphics card for the current job, which is that one. This one was replace the air cooler. We'll wait to find out what that is, and we can, well, I might risk it, but you really shouldn't. Let me see. Cooling. There we go. So let's sort by price ascending. That's fine. So that's 10. Alright, we'll risk it. I think it'll be fine doing the Mortoni thermal one since the game is so early on and it says, oh, I was going to buy this and not accept it. That's dangerous. Don't do that either. Don't buy stuff if you haven't actually taken on the client. Alright. So that's that. That's that. Now, we can't do anything with this. All of our parts and our new stuff is in order. We've collected it, so the parts are out, or the PCs are gone, so we're done. Let's turn that off. That'll probably be the way I end all my episodes. It's just, alright, let's turn the lights off, and I'll see you guys next time. Okay. Now, we're going to get our parts. Let's go ahead and do the, let's do this one first, since they've been waiting. Come on, get rid of it. Alright, and one thing I should say too is in this view you can hold right click to spin and move the camera. You can use the scroll wheel to zoom in. Once you're zoomed in, you can then actually use the WASD keys to move around. So that just might help you with that. Alright, let's take the graphics card out. Now, when you're in this mode, you can see this one's broken, but you can still sell it for $8. Sometimes these aren't broken and they just want to upgrade them. You can keep these for other builds when they don't specify anything specific. However, this was that however from earlier. What used to happen when the game first came out, there was a lot of people that were talking about this at, like on the boards and Steam and stuff like that, was when it would say replace. It never... Actually, the game never held you accountable to when it said this is broke, replace it, that you couldn't put in something older or worse. So what a lot of people were doing was say this was a 1080, but they had a 970 from an old job. Well, to fix it, they would just throw in the 970 and keep the 1080. It was an upgrade. It didn't cost them anything to buy the old part, and they were done. And what was really funny about that to me was I was like, that's so shady. Like, that's such a terrible business practice kind of thing. And then the game did a patch not too long ago, and one of them was like, can no longer do that, like it's not acceptable, this replace won't trigger as being completed unless it's something of equal or greater value, I guess. And then there was a comment from the developer of the game that was like, what kind of shady places are you guys running? And I died laughing because it was so funny. It was a pretty decent way to make a buck when the game first came out and that hadn't been patched. But yeah, I couldn't help but think to myself, I'm like, yeah, that's so shady kind of thing. So I thought it was pretty hilarious, though, that the dev is actually, what kind of operations are you guys running? One thing I will say is never take jobs that do the benchmarking. They'll say, I want my PC to benchmark at a score of 3,249, whatever. I don't care what it is. A couple of the guides I read said don't take them if they have a certain score. No, I don't take them anymore. They're ridiculous money sinks because they usually have a crappy computer like this, which benchmarks is at like 1,100 or something, and then they want you to get it up to like 3,500, but they're only paying you like $300, and the graphics cards and RAM and all this stuff you have to do to get it there, it's just dumb. It's just dumb. Don't do that. So don't take those jobs. That's the one thing I would recommend thus far, is not to take those kinds of jobs. This one looks like it has a dust filter for the power unit, but it's not letting me grab it. Whatever. Alright, I don't see any more filters, and I don't think we really need to do any more to that, so let's see if we can't clean this up. Oh, I have to replace the air cooler on this one. So I guess it doesn't matter. We can go ahead and remove it. I try not to, when it's a clean or something like that, I try not to take the whole thing apart, but we have to replace the air cooler anyway. Here's a good example. We can't do this until this cable is unplugged, so you unplug that and you remove that. So, now, here's the other thing, is once you remove a fan, I'm sure a lot of you people out there that have done computers yourself are going, always do the thermal paste, we know. But For anybody that's not really familiar with it, always redo the thermal paste. Now, I will say for any of you that have done it yourself, bloop, that's all there is to it. Left click, done. And blunk, and that's done, and plug this in, and that's done. Yeah, I wish it was that easy. It's not really that much harder in truth. I mean, like when I did it myself, it took me a while because I'm inexperienced at it and everything, but it's not that bad, but it ain't that fast, and it's not that easy. So, oh, that's right. I normally do, whatever. I normally do my thumb drive stuff before I do all that. Whatever. Actually, I wonder if you can do power. Let's try this. Can I do power and boot it before I plug in the graphics? Oh, you can! Ooh, okay. So I might start just plugging in the power cable, booting it up as I'm doing the other cables and stuff. That could save me a little time too. Alright, so that one's done. And you can tackle this however you want. As far as you could do one, cache it in, you could do another one, cache it in, do another one. I just like to do all the different ones, and then I kind of do whatever. That's just me. And I'm hoping at some point they end up actually... Wait a minute. He said there was a 4 in here. Hold up. Hold up. I call shenanigans. Hold up. This is why I like doing things through email. Ah, I read it wrong. She has 16. I currently have 2 and 4 RAM slots. Pooh. See, this is what happens. This is what happens. Alright, well, in that case, we're going to open you up. Alright, so, actually, where's that fan? I need to sell that fan. Oh, I did that already. Alright, memory. Pooh. Pooh, pooh, pooh. Alright, we'll put the 2 there. So what's that give us? 4? And then I guess I'll do... Oops. I'll do the 8. Oh, this is so terrible. Like, don't do this. Like, anybody that's looking for information on, like, this is how you do a computer. No, don't do this. Unless... Hold up a second. Let me actually take this one out. I have an idea. I might be able to salvage this. So this is worth $7, which means this one's probably worth $7. Yeah, so 2 7s. So that's $14 back. I know I'm totally nickel and diming this, but if I leave it there and I just buy a 4, I'm out 45. If I take that, it's 14 back. Ugh, but that's 100. It probably is cheaper to do it this way. Alright. Like I said, I don't like doing negative numbers, so let's collect a couple of these first. Okay. So, you usually get messages, you usually get 2 to 3. It's typically 2, though. Every time you complete one, you'll get another one. You complete another one, you get another one. You can usually do about 2 or 3 a day per in-game day. And then this is our first level up. So we've reached level 2, so you've unlocked this case fan, 6th gen Intel Core, processors, auto-connect tools, if I could afford it, and all of this stuff. Well done, and blah, 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 blah. Next milestone is Ryzen quad cores, AMD AM4 sockets, Seagate Barracudas, blah, 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 blah. So that's how you get more parts. And, alright, fine. I will be the good computer person and get them the right kind of RAM. There. Happy? I should have checked this first. Place motherboard. So I'm going to accept that, but I don't know what that motherboard is. Remove viruses. Sure. What is this? I hope you can help my computer stop working the other day and will not turn on at all. Please, can you have a look for me? I think might be my motherboard. If it needs a new one, I know it needs a Skylake socket. Now, here's where you could go ahead and just buy a Skylake. I personally like waiting to get eyes on it. I need your help. I borrowed my mom's brand new PC, and I think I clicked on something I shouldn't have. Now it's riddled with viruses. I need it done before she gets back from her friend's house on the hurry. Now, friend's house on the nothing hurry. Okay. Harry, need to proofread your emails a little bit there, buddy. This one sounds urgent, but it's actually not. Some of these will come with a timestamp things on, like, how long you have to complete them. Let me go ahead. I'm just going to go ahead and... I wouldn't normally recommend doing this. I just don't want to forget. I'm just going to sell these two because I have another one on the way. Turn off the lights. And we're out for the day. Alright, so now we're back. Got our actual RAM. I'm actually curious. I never did the whole turn the lights off thing. I'm curious as to how much that actually is going to affect my light bill. I think the first time I played through this, it was like 90 bucks, I think. No, bad, wrong. This is just a pet peeve of mine. It doesn't affect the in-game thing. I don't know why it does that. Thank you. I suppose it's contingent on the motherboard, but every motherboard I've ever seen always uses alternating DIMM slots, and it always bothers me that these are not set up that way. Okay. Now, let's throw the power cable, and that will boot you up. I guess I only really need the HDMI? No, you need all the keyboard. It just said, I couldn't read it for a second there, but it says no keyboard, and it's going to say no mouse. So there we go. Do I have to reboot it? Yeah, I guess you have to reboot it. Okay, so that one's done. We can collect on that. Ooh, we're getting a little close on time here. So what is this one? Is this just a scan? Yeah, alright. Let's just go ahead and do this real quick. Okay. So, you can do it without the graphics card, or the HDMI, but you need the other ones plugged in before you power it on. I guess. It's interesting. Okay, so we're not doing too bad. We're level 2. We're making a profit. We're not negative $16 or $15 anymore. So that's good. It's always important to just keep an eye on that and know that you have like a $500 bill and a $90 bill. All that kind of stuff. Alright, so that one's done. I love virus scanning ones. As you play the game and you get higher tier, then you stop getting as many of those, but... Okay. Let's take a look at you. What do we got here? A Z170 MTech Mortoni. Alright, so let's go to our shop. Motherboard. Mortoni Z1 Tech. I'm going to add it, but I'm going to leave this open because once I collect these, I'm going to get a couple more. And when that happens, I might have more parts to buy. Alright. Hey, I recently upgraded my PC, but now it's not working properly. The computer boots okay, but when I try to benchmark it or run a game on the computer, it crashes. I haven't replaced my PSU. Could my new parts be drawing too much power? So this one actually goes ahead and tells you install a Sheen Power King 600 or better, and then run the 3D Mark program. So that'll get into benchmarking. We'll accept that. Hi there, I bought a PC from you 6 months ago from Tim, and it's overheating whenever I try and do anything on it. I took a look under the CPU cooler, and there's no thermal paste. What kind of Mickey Mouse business are you running? I demand that you fix this for free, and this time test the PC before you send it back to me. Dr. Waterman. Yeah, so sometimes you get people like this, which is annoying. So, unfortunately, that one's not going to bring in any money, but it's just apply thermal paste and test it. Alright, so we need a Sheen Power King. So let's go to our power supplies. Is it Sheen or Sheen? Sean? Sheehan? I'm not sure how you're supposed to say that. Let's go with Sheehan. Sounds better. Alright, so we'll add the 600. So that's the two right there. Same day. Buy that. We're up to $1,000 now, so that's good for a couple of days. We're running a little long on time. I don't know how long each episode is going to be. Probably going to do it until I'm at an in-game day to stop, so I can do a lights out. But yeah, so that's kind of how this goes. I threw out a preview episode not too long ago as a way to showcase what I did for my own build, which was kind of okay. It didn't have most of the parts, but it was kind of a mixed thing of kind of let me show it off. So let me know what you guys think. If you'd be interested in seeing more on this as a series, as a full-blown weekly episode series thing or something, I might consider it and try and figure out where to put it in the schedule. But in the meantime, that's going to do it for us for today. I'm going to wrap things up here. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, leave a like. In the meantime, I will see you all next time. Peace!